Hey guys, Ash here at Flight Sim Reviews on YouTube, and I wanted to show you guys just basically a cruise profile with this aircraft. We're at flight level 450, which is about where aircraft of this type cruise, Lears and such. In real life, they cruise up here due to there's no traffic. Civilian airliners really can't get this high, and the only thing in real life you'd have to deal with is the military, and in FSX, the military is kind of non-existent. So that being said, it's clear skies and flying up at this level, but not a whole lot of airplanes can actually get this high. So anyways, today I want to go ahead and let's look at the PFD and the MFD settings. And what we're going to be looking at is this is your PFD and this is your MFD, and I've noticed in my last couple of reviews that I wasn't zooming in real well so you could see what I was pointing at, so I'll try and do better on this review. It's still a learning process doing these reviews for me. Anyway, so let's zoom in here. As you can see, before we start that, Eaglesoft has really done a nice job. They have a couple of skins for the cockpit for day, night, and dusk or dawn. You notice how the electroluminescence around the switches and that is very dim. Once it gets full night, that texture will change to a more vivid white. I thought that was a really nice touch on their part. There's also a floodlight in the cabin, and there's that. Pilots won't use this at night or low light conditions, so they save their night vision with their eyes to scan outside for traffic. So I won't use it either due to that fact. At 45,000 feet, this is obviously a 2-pilot rated aircraft. It cannot be flown with only 1 pilot due to FAA rules. And the autopilot's capturing the navigation here. Any higher than 45,000 feet, one of the flight crew has to be wearing an oxygen mask just in case of depressurization. It's always a risk on aircraft like this, and especially flying at these levels. If there was a depressurization event, it would be violent and quick, there's no question. So basically, we're going to concentrate over here. You have your radio panel. I already showed you your angle of attack indicator up here. So anyways, we have PDF, HSI. Here's your HSI. You can change the way that looks to the, whatever your personal preference is. There's a couple selections there. This would be for weather. It's not simulated, but the real aircraft, that would obviously toggle your weather. Lapse time, timer, TCAS. TCAS can be adjusted down here. You have the range you can adjust, 6, 12, 20, or 40, and then above, below, or normal, depending on which way you want the system to look. If you're climbing, you'd probably use the above setting. Cruise, I use both, kind of the best of both worlds. You can do MFD map here. That would show you your whole flight plan. If you had a huge bunch of a star and all the waypoints, you could look at it all at the same time and make sure that you'd input it correctly. I just did a direct to, so just KISM is selected. You can do an MFD weather setting as well, but we won't be doing that since it's not simulated. Here's your speed tape. We're going 75% a Mach, and I just pulled the throttles back. Obviously, this is your indicated airspeed. This is actual Mach number airspeed, which is a more accurate way of maintaining how fast you're going, especially in aircraft that don't have a ground speed reference here. 45,000 feet. This is your autopilot information, what it's tracking. FMS, this is direct to the airport, would be 317 degrees. We're 1,000 nautical miles out from KISM. This is your minimum setting for radar altitude for like an ILS approach. This is your knob where you would change that. It's right here down on the bottom. Barometric knob to set your barometric pressure. Above 14,000 feet, you just standardize it. You don't use the local setting any longer. As far as your MFD here, you can change your PFD settings. You can change the artificial horizon. This is more common in Boeing's aircrafts and those type of aircraft. I'm not a big fan of that one. I prefer this one, so I always run on that one. It's your choice, obviously. You can turn the flight director on and off. You can change the barometric pressure to hectopascals instead of inches of mercury. I'm not a European, so we use inches over here. Metric altitude, not sure why you'd want that, but it will calculate it for you. As far as the MFD setup, you can let it show you near VORs, airports, close airports, traffic, V profile. That would be if you had a SID or a star. You get a side view of your altitude you need to maintain, which is really a nice feature. Instead of just having to read the map and hold at flight level whatever for that part of the procedure, this will give you a nice side view of where you are on the path and what that actual altitude is in relation to your flight path and where you are. Wind vectors, you can get an XY component, so it would show you left and headwind or tailwind or right. Or you can do a vector, so if you had like a 10 knot tailwind and a 10 knot right crosswind, it would give you a 17, 15 knot, somewhere in there, vector, just sideways you can choose. Again, you have a range knob here to increase or decrease range on your MFD. Clock, this is time in the sim. This is elapsed time since you took off. It's a timer you can set. Again, range, estimated time of arrival is 2 hours 33 minutes. Outside air temperature is negative 53 Celsius. True airspeed, which is what this would be reading if all air was the same density on the planet, which it isn't. The higher you get, the thinner it gets. And then this is your ground speed. That's pretty self-explanatory. That's your movement over the ground in knots. This is your N1, N2 intake turbine temperature. I covered that earlier. Oil Celsius, oil pressure, fuel flow 587 pounds per engine. We have a quantity of 6,500 pounds, 500 in the center tank, 3,000 in each wing. The Citation always chooses the center tank first to keep the center of gravity, and that is simulated properly here. Electrical, 25 DC volts on each bus, 165 amps on the left bus and 126 on the right. 3,000 on A and B. Hydraulics, that's from each engine. If you had an engine failure, you would see one of these drop dramatically. Dramatically, that's an interesting word. Dramatically. It's about 4 a.m., so bear with me. This is the declutter setting, and you can clear all that up. Don't know why you would, but you can. Tank temperature, that's your fuel tank temperature. There's different types of jet fuel for different temperatures that it can stay liquid at. If you're flying at higher altitudes, you can select different jet fuel, so that'd be important to know that. Engine temperature, the nacelle temperature, again hydraulics, quantity of fluid, temperature of the fluid. Electrical, again, this is just more, AB bus, DC volts, DC amps, battery Celsius temperature, battery voltage. Obviously, colder battery you get, the less voltage you get. This would be for a pre-flight. It shows you all your flight control surfaces and their positions at the given time to make sure they're all working. And then your engine parameters. It gives you better numbers here if you click on the engine parameters page. You get 600. You get your exact temperature and your exact Celsius and pressures. Where if you're on these other pages, you just get a bar indicating. It'll turn red if it's out of range, or yellow if it's abnormal. But this gives you a much better clarification on what's going on with the engine if you had some sort of problem with the engines. At this point, that's a good overview of the MFDs and the PFD and what you can do with them in this sim. This aircraft is pretty fast. We're not even close to the overspeed line, and we're doing 69% Mach at 400 ground speed. You can usually do about 520 knots ground speed if you're pushing the aircraft. I haven't pulled back because I did less fuel to climb this altitude to do this review, so we'd have to save some fuel. Outside, just give you a quick view outside. I am running the tail light, the navs, the anti-collisions, and the beacon, so you can see what those look like when they're turned on. They look pretty nice at night on this sim. Of course, there are more lights on the external. That's what I'm running at this time. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed that review, and there will be more to come. The next one should cover landing and approaches with this aircraft. And I hope you continue to watch. I certainly do enjoy doing these reviews, and hope to catch you next time. Thanks for watching.